day, staring at the ceiling, making friends with shadows on my wall. All night, hearing voices telling me that I should get some sleep because tomorrow might be good for something. Hold on, feeling like I'm headed for a breakdown, and I don't know why. But I'm not crazy, I'm just a little loud. Well, I know right now that. But stay a while, and maybe then you'll see a different side of me. I'm not crazy, I'm just a little impaired. I know right now you don't care. But soon enough, you're gonna think of me and how I used to be. Talking to myself in public, dodging glances on a train. And I know they've all been talking about me. I can hear them whisper, and it makes me think there must be something wrong with me. Out of all the hours thinking, somehow I lost my mind. But I'm not crazy, I'm just a little out. Well, I know right now you can tell. But stay a while and maybe then you'll see a different side of me. I'm not crazy, I'm just a little impaired. I know right now you don't care. But soon enough, you're gonna think of me and how I used to be. Well, I've been talking in my sleep. Pretty soon I'm going to get me. Yeah, they're taking me away. Well, I'm not crazy, I'm just a little out. Well, I know right now you can tell. But stay a while and maybe then you'll see a different side of me. I'm not crazy, I'm just a little impaired. I know right now you don't care. But soon enough, you're gonna think of me and how I used to be. All right, everybody, welcome to MJ Made My Day. Again for September 18, 2020. At Shemre, you're watching live MJ Make My Day live, streaming live over New Jersey, USA. My name is MJ, and you're watching MJ Make My Day Usapang Kalye, MJ Make My Day on YouTube, and of course, MJ Make My Day on Marlon Lisa and of course, MJ Make My Day Facebook page. All right. Kamusta po kayo? Again, my name is MJ and you're actually watching MJ Make My Day. Thank you very much sa mga nag-suporta po sa atin. Aba, tuloy-tuloy na natin to. We have like what? 1,000 plus subscribers on YouTube. All right. Woo! Ang saya-saya. Anyway, this is only our 14th episode, kaya naman nakakataba po ng puso. Thank you very much for those who are watching us over in the Philippines. You're watching MJ Make My Day. And tonight, it's going to be a very special night for everybody because we are going to discuss about how you can empower your mental health. Your mental health matters most. Okay. All right. So, without any further ado, I would like to bring you to the Glass Half Full, a special episode of MJ Make My Day. Alright, palakpakan muna tayo dyan. Thank you very much. Whether you're facing a global or personal crisis or a mix of both, building resilience can help you cope with stress, overcome adversity, and enjoy the better days to come. Lately, the world seems to be lurking from one crisis to another. We've experienced a global pandemic, dramatic changes to how we conduct our daily lives, economic uncertainty, and political and social turmoil, as well as an array of natural disasters. Then there are personal traumas that people are also dealing with, such as the loss of a loved one, declining health, unemployment, divorce, violent crime, or tragic accidents. For many of us, this is a time of unprecedented struggle and upheaval. Whether the source of disruption in your life is global emergency or a personal tragedy or both, living through difficult times can take a heavy toll on your mood, health, and outlook. It can leave you feeling helpless and overwhelmed by stress and anxiety. You may be painfully grieving all that you've lost, flooded by a slew of difficult, conflicting emotions, or uncertain about how to move on with your life. You may even feel that your life is totally out of control and you're powerless to affect whatever happens next. What is resilience and how we can build resilience to help us better adapt to life changing events, cope up with turbulent times, and bounce back from hardship and tragedy? What is the role of resilience in times of crisis? And the last question is, why do some people seem to be better able to cope in these troubling times than others? Okay, let me introduce to you our first host for this evening. She has been a licensed mental health counselor for 15 years and has been in private practice in Staten Island for the past 8 years. She is experienced with providing counseling to all ages, and her focus has been on cognitive behavior, therapy, mindfulness, and building a resilient life. She has been working in both inpatient and outpatient community settings during her 30-year career, to include being a counselor after 911 for the city of New York, and is currently providing counseling during the latest pandemic crisis. A little unknown fact about our host may be that she has 3 children and 4 grandchildren, who she spends much of her time with. Please help me welcome Dr. Lisa Blanchfield.
Hello. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hi, Dr. Lisa, how are you? You're on.
Are you
Yes, you
watching?
are.
Almost done in the Philippines as well.
Wow. Kamusta mga kababayan? Dr. Lisa Blanchfield from New York. All right, Dr. Lisa, let me turn over the microphone to you. Why don't you greet our audience?
Okay, so we are going to talk a little bit tonight. Marlon, did you want to talk about the name of the show, your first episode?
Yes, of course, but yeah, you may go ahead, continue.
Okay, just so kind of to clarify maybe the brainstorm idea that we had to name the show The Glass is Half Full, which is to encourage people in this really difficult time all over the world when there's a lot of stress and the pandemic and all the other issues that have come up, to think in a really positive way. So tonight, I think what we're trying to do is to give people some skills and to talk about in general the difficulty that we're all facing and the personality traits and characteristics that we can work on and encourage people to use in order to look at the glass as being half full instead of half empty.
Empty. All right. There you go, everybody. Dr. Lisa Blanchfield. And I'm going to get back to you in a few, Dr. Lisa, okay? All right, I'm going to get back to you in a short while, Dr. Lisa. All right, our next host, she graduated as a doctor of nursing practice in 2017 from Wagner College. She secured a Master of Nursing Science degree in 2003 from Wagner College. She is a family nurse practitioner who is board certified by the American Nurse Association. And licensed by the state of New York to provide family centered healthcare to patients of all ages. The scope of her practice encompasses health promotion, disease prevention, diagnosis and management of common and complex healthcare problems that begin in the childhood and continue with age. She has been working at various long term care facilities as a nurse practitioner, In addition to over 25 years of hands on experience as a registered nurse in providing education to the residents and their families, she has developed educational tools to assist in making the personal preference treatment plan of advantage care planning and palliative care management with a feel well, live longer approach. One of the hosts of the Glass Half Full, let us all welcome Dr. Azza Ezzat.
Hello, and thank you for having me. Good evening, good night. Kumusta and Salam alaikum. It's a great way of having different cultural background and different ideas so everybody can explore different cultures and ways so we can expand our knowledge, expertise, and being able to help others to learn from what we know and what we experience ourselves. So thank you for having me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Dr. Azza Ezzat. Anyway, the same way that I asked Dr. Lisa a while ago, the Azza Lisa or Mona Lisa of the Glass Half Full. Okay.
Yes.
All right, this is the question that I asked about why they think the title "The Glass Half Full" is best fit for our show for tonight.
Um, I believe that everybody have different perception to things in life. There is, it can be the same thing, and everybody can look at it with a different direction. And what we are trying to emphasize that there are different ways you can be moving away from something or moving towards something. And another example when it comes to healthcare, pain. Some people trying to move away from pain, and by moving away from pain, they are just focusing on pain, 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 and so they're looking for another pain to control their pain. But when they are focusing about the comfort and being healthy, they can see the world from different perspective. And it's always a good idea to have the comparison, the contrast of what's going on in life, whether it's pain, whether negative experience, whether trauma. So there is always helpful, and we will explain how we can see things and train our mind to, to be positive, because that's what will impact our living from now on with all this new research and new information and new ideas. And we just have to take advantage of it. The world around us is advancing, and we have everything at the tip of our fingers. So we have to know what to get in order to help us and enhance our life and capacity. So we're excited to myself and Lisa, because we've been working together for a long time, and we believe that the human body is just one system. We cannot divide it, the mind and the mental health and the physical aspect. It's everything is one related. So we will be sharing what we know and what we believe and what we hope that will help everybody that's going to be listening to us.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Dr. Asa. All right, so let me call back one more time. Dr. Lisa, are you with us? All right, Dr. Lisa Blanchfield. There you go. All right. The three of us are back. So, again, to our viewers who just opened their platform, whether you're watching over YouTube, you're watching Usapang Kalye Kalyanatics. Thank you very much for always supporting our program. And of course, you're watching MJ Make My Day and through MJ Make My Day Facebook page and MJ Make My Day uh, Facebook account. All right. So my first question: what is the definition of resiliency, and how does positive psychology help us, Dr. Lisa?
Okay, so there is a miracle drug personality trait that we can develop. Some people actually already have it. Some are learning how to be more positive. And truly, what the trait is to be able to bounce back from adversity. So we've all had situations in our life. We've had trauma, we've had health issues, we've had the experience now of what's going on with the pandemic. We've all have reached a point in our lives where we're adjusting to and becoming more flexible to whatever's going on around us. So the context of the personality trait is to be able to take the adversity, understand what's going on, problem solve it, and then come up with a solution so that it doesn't affect us in an adverse way. happens is if we can't develop that trait, the bouncing back and the flexibility may develop so many different symptoms of stress, anxiety, depression, self-medication. There's so many things we can do, but it adversely affects our health to the point that we have to reverse it. So Dr. Azza was referring to the mind and the body, which when we worked together for many years, we treated patients with both the psychologist viewpoint and then the medical, which means that the person has to understand that the resiliency can come through and can actually take over the situation rather than to look at it as a disaster. Not why did this happen to me? It should be why not me? Okay, it happened to me, and so now we have to come up with a solution-based therapy and actual communication so that the person understands that this is not something that's going to be negative. We can actually turn it into something positive.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lisa. I have a question from our YouTube page, and she said, "Is it okay for me to feel depressed, especially during at this time of COVID-19?"
So it is very normal right now. We're having both positive and negative feelings, probably more negative. The unpleasant feelings are there because it's a time of fear. Okay, we're dealing with a crisis situation, and I think what happens is we try to push back the pain or the anxiety or the depression that we feel rather than actually deal with it and talk about it. And on our last show, we talked a lot about the stigma of mental health and reaching out for help. And we're trying, I think, through this show to communicate with people and let them know that they can become more successful with dealing with crisis. It's just a matter of developing the coping skills that are necessary.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Lisa. I have a follow-up question for Dr. Azza anyway. So how do I create that power, or how do I empower myself to become resilient, especially in this time of in these difficult times?
I believe the first step is the awareness. Like your first line that asking you, is it okay to be depressed? So she is aware that she's depressed, and that's a good sign that she knows that something is going on and that she has that feeling. The second important part is the attitude. Now I'm depressed. How can I survive? Because the second option is falling down and breaking down, like Dr. Lisa said, and you start having more symptoms, and of course the nervous systems affect multi other symptoms of in the body, and that's like evidence-based, and that's known that an anxiety can break all your system. It affects your cortisol level, it affects your glucose metabolism and the sugar, and it's a whole chain of other reaction. So your attitude, I'm going to survive this. I know that I'm going through a hard time and I'm going to survive it. Just once you put the fact that you are planning to survive it, that's what you're going to start looking for relationship and help, whether from professional or from family or supportive system. And that's how the resilience starts. It's just like a trait and a journey. And it's self journey because you are the one that has to choose who is going to be helping you, because there's no one size or one like silver bullet that's going to help. So it's a journey, and you're going to choose who's going to be helping you throughout this journey. So after the attitude, I think the action. What action are you going to take now? The action of my depression, that I start feeling like I don't want to go out, I don't want to answer the phone, I don't want to eat, or I'm eating too much, either or. So you start taking steps to identify the action that you're going to set in place, and you understand that it's going to take time, and you will be having support system to help you achieve. Our brain is the most sophisticated because it's not just our brain. Our body is like a miraculous machine that nobody could reach out to understand it yet. So it's going to be a practice. Same way you practice your muscles, you practice to go to the gym. you're going to be practicing
How
to
to
really
think.
to look for a solution and to be above your problem. And you're going to start feeling empowerment slowly.
Okay.
It's not going to happen over, and nobody can do it for you. It's the same thing like the gym. You cannot send somebody to give you muscles or to give you the straight abdomen or
Unless
to
you
give you a
practice.
workout. So this is going to be a journey that you have to do with a professional or somebody you trust or family member. It has to be a trust relationship.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Asa. I know we're supposed to be discussing resiliency and how are we going to be able to acquire that power. But I do have a follow-up question from California. She said, what is the difference when I'm just feeling sad about the situation or I'm really having a depression? Would you like to answer that question, Dr. Lisa?
So I think it's about functionality. If we feel like we can wake up and go through our day and function in a normal routine and in our schedule, then it's probably mild. Depression, sadness, it's adjusting to the chaotic world that we're living in. There's natural disasters going on also all over the country to add to our 2020 dilemmas.
Absolutely.
So I think that if we can make it through the day. If we can't get through even a half a day, we're not eating, we're not sleeping, we're not being able to go to work, we're not taking care of our homes, then it becomes more clinical depression.
Okay.
And I think that's the point where you really have to reach out. We have many mental health hotlines right now available in every state, and there's national hotlines as well. So she probably could reach out first through the phone, get a referral, and then talk to a professional if it's really impacting her daily life.
Thank you very much. I think for those viewers that are actually tuning in right now and watching over United States, I think maybe we can probably get the number for them so that they can able to have that. And I'm not saying they need it at the moment, but at least if we have that important number, uh, probably we can it could be within the family or maybe we can suggest that to a friend of ours. All right, so now that you're already on the spotlight, I would like to continue with you, Dr. Lisa, and I'm going to have Dr. Azza also to ask the same question, to answer the same question rather. What are the personality characteristics of resiliency? What are some factors that affect how people deal with hardship and difficult situations?
So in our DNA, we all have the will to survive. Survival of the fittest has always been part of human nature. As I talked about the mind, the brain, our bodies. So what happens is we know we want to survive, but we have so many obstacles. And truly human nature is to find a way to resolve the issue, resolve the problem. So the problem solving part is really the trait that's most effective. We can face the problem and then we say, what are we going to do about this? Some people have self-learned resiliency, which they somehow, it's a coping skill, and it's just their attitude when they face the crisis, they face the dilemma, they face the diagnosis, they automatically look at it that it's going to be a positive experience, which is difficult. And a lot of people don't believe it. And for years, I've been trying to convince people that it could be a positive thing. Well, they're not listening to that. They're saying, and they're wallowing, and they're crying, and they're talking, and they know it's a disaster for them. But what we really need to do is pull up all that strength that we have to fight it, to bounce back, to try to be stronger in the situation. Our intent is never to give in. That's really human nature, to fight back, but it's that we need the skills. Sometimes people are lacking in the skills in order to do that.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Lisa. And my question for you, Dr. Azza, all right, I'm going to put you on the spotlight, Dr. Azza. All right, how to overcome difficult events and create personal strategy for enhancing resilience?
So far from what I've been experiencing and reading and researching, a relationship that have a trust and caring and love, it does miracle. And there was so many research based on, like what Dr. Lisa said, if a healthcare provider put diagnosis in somebody's head, and they believe that no matter what you're going to say, they already put the sentence on themselves, and they will be closed-minded to hear anything else. And I think this is something negative in the healthcare field in general, because we have to be, and I'm not going to say that it's nursing or medical, but most of the time, nursing, we like to give hope to the patient and to remind them of what they've been through, because it's a personal experience. And like Dr. Lisa said, there's inheritance in our DNA, and our mind is to protect us and have us survive. So it's just like you have like Aaron Roger, for example. Dr. Lisa always refer me whenever I study something to go and see his theory. He believed that human beings are just exceptionally smart, even when they go out to ask question or to seek help, they know the answer. And as a healthcare provider, we just need to facilitate by the unconditional love and building the trust, so they will start to believe in themselves. And I'm a great believer in that. And most of my client or my patient, I remind them if they went through, because I deal with patients who are 80, 85 and older. So I always remind them, how did you, if I see that they had some major surgery before, and then you see their eyes light up and they start talking about, oh, I was strong and I was, so once you remind them of their strengths, something inside you that will start to grow and have that kind of resilience to come back and to fight, and make it easier for the psychologist and for the client to find the strengths to overcome the difficulties.
All right.
And this is psychology and spirituality as well, because we have some kind of dimension that is outside, and that's why psychology and spiritual are the same, because they're dealing with the mind and the dimension that we don't see that much, and there is not much evidence. But the trusting care, right now there are so many evidence that it turn off the fight and flight response, which causes most of the disease. Once you are calm and you relax in the tender of somebody that you trust, you start the self-healing process.
Dr. Azza, you did mention something about the. I'm sorry, you did mention something about the age. All right. So, is there disparity on how you can um, create a resiliency on yourselves, whether uh, you are 25 or 85? Is there a big difference in the power, the motivation of a person, depending on their age?
According to the nursing theorists, it's the nurse who become the one that mirror to the patient. So I don't think it doesn't matter the age, but the maturity of the practitioner and the clinician and the healthcare worker that can make the difference in by the genuine listening and caring. Because they will know if you're just looking in the watch and you're just rushing to go and see somebody else, or you're genuinely actually interested in listening to the patient in any age.
All right.
They will feel it, and they will build the trust and the caring relation that they will. We hear it a lot sometimes. I see it myself. The patient will try to control their diabetes so they can please the doctor. You know what I mean? So they are not pleasing themselves, but they want to show that they are responsible people and they are taking their care of their health.
And following whatever the advice of the physician, probably. All right, there are 60,656,799 cases, total cases and deaths by in the United States, and there are actually 197,116 total deaths, and cases in the last 7 days are 276,151. I'm not trying to scare our viewers, but Dr. Lisa, this question is for you. What does resiliency look like for those dealing with the current crisis in our country or in every country right now?
So basically, it's information overload. And thank you, Marlon. I'm not saying that we don't need to know. We do. And we're all paying attention and we're all keeping track of the numbers. But what happens is this overload of negative information, which all of that is just so it's causing fear. It's causing unpredictability. We're feeling the emotion of unsure what the future is going to bring. And so that brings all the coping mechanisms to full force. So it's fight or flight, and the cortisol starts to be depleted, and we start to have other symptoms because it's understanding that this is a threat, right? So when we're threatened and we feel that this is a pandemic, a health pandemic, it's about our families, our lives, our parents, our children now, school teachers. It's just rampant in all different parts of our country and also age groups. At first, we thought it was just going to affect the elderly, and now the school systems are in a crisis. So the resiliency is going to have to be the backup plan. So how are we going to deal with the information overload? We have to face it, talk about it, understand it, and then come up with a plan to deal with it, which is where we have to understand the skills to bounce back. Okay. Otherwise, this is going to affect us on a daily basis. And I'm sure the questions that we will have is how to do that. How do we deal with the world that we're living in right now?
Thank you very much, Dr. Lisa. And I do have another question for Dr. Azza at this moment. All right, Dr. Azza. And you're not going to believe me, we're actually on our way to our 35 minutes already. And I think the conversation here is getting hotter and hotter. Although the weather temperature in New Jersey or most part of the United States is getting colder, right? So we're gearing towards that fall season. On September 22nd, it's going to be the start of the fall. All right, Dr. Asa, how people developing and using a personal strategy for enhancing resilience?
I'm going back to the question that you had. I'm very interesting to find out who survived. Like we are looking at who did not make it, and I'm sure there is a huge number who did not make it. But at the same time, if you look at the number who survived, it's much bigger and much higher. Do you have this number, by the way? I'm sure you do.
Yeah,
the recovered, just the recovered.
Sure, I can actually look for that. So I'm gonna give you the number in a short while, Doctor.
Right. So what I'm trying to say is it's mind-boggling because I've seen long-term care facilities where they were accused that there was some kind of neglect and people passed away and everything else. I have so many like 95, 90, 85, they had the coronavirus and survived. And I believe it's the caring environment, the trust of the relationship of the staff that it gave them the strength to fight because there was no other medication per se. We all know that there was no approved medication, there was no approved strategy, and usually in this kind of situation we send patients to the hospital, but because of the hospital situation, we kept them in the nursing home because that was their home, and we treated them. The CNA, they were caring for the heart and they were attending to them, making sure they are clean, making sure they are fed, and if they can, we had hydration, and we survived. We did the antibody test and it was positive, meaning that they had the and survived. And some that they went to the hospital for the aggressive measures, they didn't make it. And you know what I mean? So I still believe that genuine relationship with a trust and caring and supportive of the natural, like Dr. Lisa said, that God created in our system of surviving, if we can just enhance it with simple, nothing at that time, there was no complicated kind of situation or intubation or something major, but people made it because they probably had the positive attitude and the desire and the trust in them. And we as a healthcare provider or the care provider were able to bring them and pull them out of that situation. So
thank you, Dr.
That's my take on what's going on. You can look at it as how many died, but I see how many survived.
The recovery period.
It's something out of our control.
Exactly.
It's not something that we can, it's like the day and night, the winter and summer, you cannot control it. So you have to look at the positive side, and you have to be strong enough to say, well, they survived it. If there will be a second wave, I'm going to survive it. So it's a mindset, it's an attitude, it's as I said, it's an exercise. You train your mind to give the instruction to your body to be strong and enhance the healing capacity and the preventive measures that we can all have if we have the strengths of the mindset.
Okay, mindset, attitude, and exercise. So, how can we restructure our thinking to become more resilient, Dr. Lisa?
So cognitive behavioral therapy is really probably the most helpful, and we actually have to restructure our thinking. We can focus on things like self-care, self-protection, building our own self-confidence, taking care of our own personal life, concentrating on today. So when we think about today, mindfulness is all about what's happening today, not what happened yesterday or what's happening tomorrow. So if we put ourselves in that mindset of I just need to get through today and I need to figure out how to do that and in the most positive way. So it's really important to not catastrophize. So what we like to do is say, oh, what is going to happen by the holidays? Oh, what's going to happen next year? Oh, and we've done that for 6 months. And really, if we just get through our daily routine, take care of ourselves, eating, sleeping, exercising, taking care of all the tasks that are important to us, work, school, whatever it is we need to do, and to focus on the moment. And when we learn mindfulness, which is the skills are amazing. It's stuff we do every single day. We're just not paying attention and thinking of it that way. It's taking a bike ride, taking a walk, yoga, deep breathing, meditating, such simple things we can do. And it actually distracts the brain from focusing on the thoughts that are creating the anxiety and the depression.
Wow. Okay. We're learning a lot from this discussion, actually. So for those are have questions, you can still keep going on. You can actually um, send your question to the Facebook page MJ Make My Day or to our YouTube channel, and also you can send through our messaging messenger. Okay. All right. So Dr. Azza, is resilience is a trait or is it a trait in people personality? Either I have it or I don't have it.
No, I believe what Dr. Lisa mentioned, and I believe this is like self journey and something you slowly kind of build it and how you're gonna come out of a trauma situation, some great loss, some uh, illness, whatever the situation is how you're gonna come out of it. And beside the fact, what I mentioned in the beginning about the trust, loving, unconditional loving, trust relationship, there are some other ways that people like practice and start to build skills on how to communicate and train their problem to their brain to look for not for a problem but for problem solving solutions. Like here is a problem, what is the way? And once you start to ask questions, you will find your brain is expand to give you an answer and you're not stuck because when you are in the stress mode, you're stuck in fear and your trauma. Once you start finding, oh, I'm gonna find a solution. Somebody else had it, and I'm not the only one. There are people much worse than me, and you start asking yourself question and giving that homework to your brain. You're gonna start finding different answer. Also, to start to view yourself as a strong person who able to overcome problems, and you say to yourself, I had some issue before and I was able to survive it. This is gonna pass, kind of. So it's a whole kind of a process that you continue to work on. From what I'm hearing, also a lot of people took an opportunity of these 6 months to reflect. And I've been hearing about celebrity and some famous people. They said they start to realize that there was so many stuff that they are doing in their life that it has no meaning. And in the future, even after Corona, they're going to eliminate. So you can take this time of a trauma also to reflect. How would you like, which direction you would like? You take an opportunity, and instead of this is something that is going to kill me, this is my end of my life, to say, I'm glad that it happened. Now what? Now, how I'm going to live my life from now on? What it accept the change that is going to come with whatever the trauma that happened. And you know that you're going to build it again. And you are not resisting the change. You are going with the flow, which is accepting and being happy that you are still alive. And I think anybody who's listening now, they should consider themselves lucky, given the number that we just heard now.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Also to have a plan and goal, because if you don't have a goal in life, you don't have a tomorrow to wake up and say, I have something to do. And I'm sure you who were laid off from their work, I hear a lot, they feel their life ended. They don't know what to do with their life, and they think that's it. Where in fact that could be an opportunity for them to one day to say what happened was a blessing in disguise, because now I built my multi-million dollar company. So there's always, you have to have a goal, and you have to have something so big so it can give you an energy to have a desire to achieve it. And that will pull you from where you are at, and they give you a hope and give you a goal, and you continue to focus and look back at this goal anytime you feel bad or sad. So it's like you're gonna live in your own kind of life. Whatever is going around you, it doesn't affect you much. You have something else you are looking forward to, and that does work. From personal experience to a person who had huge trauma, and the only way that I did get around it by having a big goal to finish my doctorate. And I think people were looking at me, is she crazy that she's going to for school for her doctor? You know, it's like I see around me, and they were like talking to themselves. I know that I want to finish my doctorate and I want to have it. And I think now looking back, that was a big, big um, factor in me overcoming my trauma. And it was, you have to have a big dream.
Exactly.
You have to have always something big, and make you in living in a different world. What's going around you, you're just a witness. You're not the person that they are talking about. Whether they're gonna tell you we have bad news or we have this or that, you're just looking at them, and you and living in your own world of what you want to do next. It's so important in anybody's life. And Dr. Lisa was a great support, and that's where I learned about not just the medical part, it's how crucial and how important the mental, the physical, and the emotional part in everybody's life, and that make your life so different and affect even the way you care for people.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Azza. All right. All right. I think the way I understand it is that we can start building resiliency by starting a smaller goal before we reach to a bigger to that bigger goal, or basically in that we can empower ourselves. So, Dr. Lisa, what are the steps that we can develop to have a better resiliency, or any personal strategies? Is there such a thing that we can do?
So it can be self-learned. We can start with just feeling and identifying the emotion, and talking to somebody, someone in a support system is always helpful. And if you don't have a support system, you can reach out, and there are mental health services, psychological services, crisis intervention. We have resources available if it's difficult for you to get started. So if it's self-learned resiliency, it's what we've taught ourselves and talked to ourselves and said, this is the way it is, and how are we going to get out of it? And then you can develop a plan. So the process is to think about your own self-care, focus on yourself, and be really selfish in a time that our health is most important. So our stress can overtake our thoughts, and then we can't even focus on how do we help ourselves. So it's okay to think about yourself. It's okay to be less interested in what's going on in the world, and try to spend your day doing things that are self-care, that are soothing and enjoyable, humor, laughter, people are just doing whatever they can to feel better and celebrate life, because right now it's a difficult time. And if we just focus on the negative, it's very damaging to our psyche. We can't just spend all day thinking about horrible outcomes and disaster. It's damaging, right? So we have to find another way. And whatever your plan is, you should do it every day. You should stick to it. Exercise, meditation. We went over all the steps. And if people need help with it, I really wish they could reach out to us in some way, because it might sound simple and oh, I can't do that. But once you try it, Oz and I are both personally and professionally examples of people that have gone through amazing things, and we're still here and we're still trying to help other people to get through it. So we've lived through a lot, and we know, and we've experienced a lot of trauma with our patients as well. And so this is the only way we believe that you can actually overcome it. And it's little steps, but the outcome is really just going to control your thoughts, and then the thoughts control the behavior.
Exactly. You just mentioned how people can reach you, Dr. Azza. If we have viewers right now that would like to get in touch with you, is there a number or possibly an email address that they can reach you, Dr. Azza?
Yes, definitely the email or the phone number. I think we have posted, we give to you, but we can always contact our email as well. And they can reach us on our Facebook pages, right? Messenger. So that's probably, if you're listening through Facebook, we're both there, and it's quick, and we do pay attention.
Are we friends on Facebook already?
Violent or
Okay. I'm just kidding.
You know how to find us, right, Azza? Yes, yes.
Of course, of course. All right. So for those who would like to get in touch with Dr. Azza or Dr. Lisa, please you can actually send them a message on their Facebook page, okay? And then probably later on we can post it so that the viewers can actually get to know you more and get if they want to get engaged with you or in a conversation, they can send some emails or messages. Okay. All right. So we're not.
One advice I would like to add before you move to, I would like people to start from where they are. They don't have to look at the past, or they don't have to say, oh, the damage is done. We can always have a fresh start, no matter what hard the situation or how bad or how deep. We can always have a fresh start, and there's always tomorrow, and there's always hope. And there are so many people did it, and we all have the same strength. We just have to have the right mentor to keep us on track. I have a few times I called Dr. Lisa. I said, listen, I need a mentor. Because as a professional, I know that people don't have somebody to go to. Everybody's coming to them for help. So for people who are in executive position or managerial position, and they feel shy, embarrassed, we're all human beings, and we're all, don't be afraid to ask for help. That's another advice too.
All right, thank you very much. All right, before we continue, we have like a few more minutes to go, maybe like around another 10, 12 minutes. I would like to give another song to our viewers. And I'm going to have a hanging question for both of you. Is being resilient mean that a person does not experience difficulty or distress? But I'm going to turn it back over before you can answer that question, okay? All right. Okay, so I would like to give you another song, actually. So, and it's called All By Myself. And if you want to sing along with me, Osapang Kaya, thank you very much for watching YouTube. Thank you very much. And of course, we have our Rainbow FM 107.1. When I was young, I never needed anyone. Making love was just for fun. Those days are gone. Living alone, I think of all the friends I've known. When I dial the telephone, nobody's home. Oh,
be all myself and more. All by myself. Don't you wanna live all by myself and more? I'm sure sometimes I feel so insecure. Love so distant next to remains with you.
All right. Again, thank you very much. My name is MJ, and you're still watching MJ Make My Day. We're actually simulcast live over YouTube, over MJ Make My Day, and also Usapang Kaya Onse and Kaya Nadix. Maraming salamat po. I will try to read your messages as well so far. Thank you very much for all those of you that are watching right now. Maraming salamat po. We're gonna acknowledge you later on. And syempre, please don't forget every Monday po ng gabi dito sa New Jersey or sa America from 9 o'clock to 11 p.m. I have a TikTok with MJ Make My Day over Rainbow 107.1, your number one online radio station at syempre po inyo pong napapanood o napaparinig naman sa Philippines Tuesday po alas 9 ng umaga hanggang alas 11 ng gabi. All right, let me turn you back over to our um, hosts, our doctors, Dr. Lisa and Dr. Azza. And my hanging question for both of you, you can actually answer this. How is being resilient mean that a person does not experience difficulty or distress? We're going to start with Dr. Lisa.
So I guess the best way to describe it is when we have a problem or trauma or health issue or any type of negative experience, we have to bend with it, but not let it break us. So what happens is that resiliency that we have from somewhere, we pull it out and it's our strength. It's really something that we've worked on probably all of our lives, and we just have to tap into it. And I think that if we look at it as a challenge, everything is a challenge and it's growth rather than it's negative. And how are we going to come out of it? And I think that we are resilient, and I think we are all doing the best we can. Mm-hmm. And as I said, meet people where they're at. And we have to analyze it and say, okay, this is where we are, but where are we going? And how are we going to grow from the experience? That's probably psychologically the most flexible way to deal with a problem rather than just to get stuck and ruminate, and it's happening and it's not going away. And we have to move forward in the best way we possibly can.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Lisa. I'm going to turn you over to Dr. Azza. The same question, Dr. Azza, is being resilient.
I don't think I can add anything else, but definitely resilient is something that we would like to plant in people's mind, that they are strong and there are ways of coming out of their difficulties. Okay. Because the other way is just giving in and indulging in a behavior like Dr. Lisa had mentioned before, whether overeating, self-medicating, isolation, and there's some other stuff as well, which has been on the rise of, which is suicide. So trauma, there have no other option and help but to reach out to everyone, and everybody have to be pay close attention to their loved one to make sure that they're okay, because most of the time we think about issues that it's away from us, it's somebody else. No, it's not going to happen to our kids or our teenager or even adult. Mm-hmm. So we have to reach out and to be very vigilant to how people are in our surrounding, whether sometimes neighbor, family, with any stress, and if there is anything we can do to help in whether direct or indirect way.
Okay, I have another question actually. This is from Boston. She said she's been trying to be resilient at all times, but every time that she's almost there, she failed. That's why she decided not to do anything anymore and accept that she's a failure. Do you believe in failure, being a failure? Dr. Lisa, is there such a word? Or do you use that
Well,
word?
we have to grow through the experience. So whatever her failures were, it's how she thinks about it. We have to change the thinking. Everything that happens to us in life, we think about it, correct? We all
Absolutely.
know the first thing is what's going to happen. What are we going to do? How are we going to process it? So the processing has to be, how can I grow from this? And depending on what the situation is, which we don't know exactly, you have to dissect it and try to understand what's the problem. Where can we go with this? What can the solution be? So it has to be flipping it from giving up because it's happened too many times to what did I learn from the experience and where are we going from here? To take the experience and learn from it, which is growth, rather than saying it's stagnating me. And she sounds like she's starting to feel less power. And when we empower ourselves,
being hopeless
and come
too.
out of it is when we actually gain most of the strength.
All right, Dr. Azza, would you like to continue?
Yeah, I think sometimes also we have so high expectation that we call ourselves failure. So if we're gonna go 7th flight and she only reached the 3rd flight and she's just stopping to take her breath and she just wanna jump to the 10-9 flight already, she consider herself failure. We label ourselves. We have so much high expectation and we don't just respect and love ourselves enough to know, I'm human being, and if I fail, so what? I'm gonna start again. It's not. I learned something new. Maybe I'm gonna take a different route. There is no such failure. There's maybe a failure in the way you're doing things, and try something new. Take a different approach. Don't give up. There is no failure because every situation require different steps and different strategy.
Thank you very much. All right. We only have like 2, 3 more minutes to go, but we still have one last question.
It's an hour
I know,
already.
absolutely. I think we should, next time we should do 2 hours. We're actually enjoying it. And how,
Marla, you know
We are enjoying it. Yes, yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. I can imagine. All right. So, how can stress reduction help us to become healthier? I'm going to turn it over first to Dr. Lisa. How can stress reduction help us to become healthier, Dr. Lisa?
Well, we know there's a correlation between stress and physical health. And we know the symptoms. We know how it upsets us physically when emotionally and psychologically we are burdened. So, in order to come to become healthier, mortality rates, disease rates, we know that we have to have a healthy mind and we have to have a healthy spirit. So, mind, body, spirit, those are the 3 things that Dr. Azza and I had always tried to incorporate with people who are under stress. And stress can come from pain, it can come from financial problems, it can come from any kind of loss, which is what we're really experiencing now is a lot of grief and loss. So the body needs to know that the mind is going to recover and heal in order for the body to heal. And that's what we stress and we tell ourselves that every day. We know that we can't become consumed with all of the mental stress because that's going to affect us physically. Obviously, we all know that it's happened to everyone. Once you become emotionally withdrawn or emotionally distraught, we have physical reactions immediately to that thought and to that feeling.
Thank you very much. All right, Dr. Azza.
Yeah, I also like to add like stress itself, we can use it, not use it, to just have the mindfulness to know if it's a real stress or not. Because sometimes if you just listening to the news and you feel like I wake up and I feel, what was the problem? Why am I waking up so upset? And you ask yourself and you find that there was nothing. There's no truth of what affected you, but it's just the emotion of what you heard the night before on the TV about the number of people who died or accident or violent or whatever. So sometimes if you're not careful enough, your mind will think that this is trauma and you're the one who's in this situation. So sometimes you have to just stop for a second and ask yourself, what is going on here? And you may be, after a while, build that skills to know that this is only a thought and it's not real and I need to overcome it. And you start diverting your mind to something else and realizing that it's not going to cause you stress, because stress, it's bad when it starts to have manifestation and be a chronic stress and have that effect. But if you catch it from the beginning and you identify that it's not that, then you will be able to even be stronger than going through the other steps to building the resilience. Resilience when it's a bad, something like trauma happened and you're not able to like evoke from the beginning and finish and build. So that's a good way of looking at it too. Is it real or not?
Thank you very much, Dr. Asa. Anyway, on October 10, actually, where the World Mental Health Day is observed on October 10 every year with the overall objective of raising awareness of mental health issues around the world and mobilizing efforts in support of mental health. The day provides an opportunity for all stakeholders working on mental health issues to talk about their work and what more needs to be done to make mental health care a reality for people worldwide. And um, during the beginning of the show, I actually spoke to Dr. Lisa about the number that they should call. Well, actually, to help them connect and save life, save the National Suicide Prevention Lifelines is at 1 800 273 TALK or 8255. I would like to repeat that the number to dial if you need help and to save the National Suicide Prevention Lifelines. It's actually 1 800 273 TALK or 8255. And the crisis text lines number is 741-741. That is 741-741. All right, so I can't believe it's over, but before we part our ways, and we're gonna see them again next time to in another episode of the Glass Half Full. I would like each one of you, Dr. Lisa and Dr. Azza, to have some parting words to our viewers. And I know they're actually listening to you, and you're probably going to receive some messages from them also. So I'll start off with Dr. Lisa.
I think that we have to remember that our minds are able to heal as well as our bodies, and that there's always a positive outcome for whatever people are going through. And with someone listening, support, family, friends, anyone that you can reach out to for support will help you to heal. And it's always possible. I think knowing that you can get better, you can feel better, you wake up the next day and you can have a better day. And I think that's why we want the emphasis to be the glass is half full, because we can always overcome with the help. And whatever help you need to reach out. And Azza spoke a lot about social support, community support, family support. Reach out to those people that are there for you, because that in turn will help you to heal and feel better.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lisa. All right, so parting words from our doctor, Dr. Azza. Dr. Azza.
What I would like to say to everyone that was listening, you are much more stronger than you think. And you have so much possibilities and potential and strength. And you're not here as an accident in life. And you have a role to play. And you need to play it strongly. You need to reach out to others. And when you help somebody, you're going to help yourself. And that's what Dr. Lisa was saying. You can just be heartbroken, but reach out and make believe you're strong and try to help somebody that in a worse situation. And by lifting that person, you will heal 100% more. That you'll feel 100% more better, and you will heal faster, and you will make the world a better place.
Yay, very good. All right. I like that. Let's make the world a better place, right? Okay, so let me just have a recap, everybody, of what we spoke about today. Are you Happy, Dr. Lisa? Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
enjoy the show and thank you so much
Oh,
for
yeah.
asking us to talk about this important topic.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely. And I,
definitely a great idea to have the different culture background and experience to
that's right.
like brainstorm and share everybody different experience and having
Absolutely.
different views to from
And I hope
people's
next time all our viewers will going to be able to join us in our Zoom meeting. Just to give you a recap, what we spoke about tonight about building resilience. Number one is to practice acceptance. Second, accept the situation. Third, accept your feelings and reach out to others. Okay, that will empower you. Again, thank you very much. The Mona Lisa of MJ's Make My Day, the glass half full, Dr. Lisa Blanchfield and Dr. Azza. Thank you very much. We'll see you again next time on the episode of The Glass Half Full. Thank you very much, and to all our viewers, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat for tuning in to MJ's Make My Day. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Lisa, Dr. Azza. Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.